Sagittarius, this is your tarot reading for the month of July. Just first quick glance at it, it doesn't look bad at all. I think it looks reasonably positive. I was about to say I'm not sure you'll feel that way as you go through the month, but I think you'll feel that it's something of a mixed month, to be perfectly honest. Now, we've got this Temperance card in the centre here, and strangely enough, that's exactly the same as Pisces that I've just done. It could mean actual temperance, more temperate lifestyle. But for Pisces, a lot of the readings for July have been deeply sort of psychological. And I thought it was more about understanding the actions of others, and at least trying to forgive them. I don't know if yours is the same or not. In the recent past, we have charity. I don't know if that was you giving charity or receiving it, but we've got charity. Current energy for the month is that of something of a struggle. Struggle to do all that you need to do. Could be a work-life balance type of thing. It doesn't mean to say that you're not winning or achieving something, but it's a bit difficult. Well, I think most people are finding life a bit difficult now. There's something of a cost of living crisis in most of the world, isn't there? And, we think that it's to do with our job, to do with prices going up, etc., etc., but if you stand back, it's pretty apparent, isn't it? It's a redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich, and it started with, it's been going on for years, but it's accelerated during the health crisis, and it's now becoming somewhat obscene, isn't it? Now that sort of energy continues after this month. You're struggling, you're carrying maybe the burdens of the world on your back. So maybe this is about global issues, although maybe you feel it as personal, I don't know. But you're feeling that it's a bit of a struggle, but you also know that an end is in sight. So just as I said with your current energy, that even though you're struggling, it doesn't mean you're not succeeding, and I think that's the same with this. The card, or the energy that leads to the outcome, is that of a new love or partnership. Very interesting. Now the outcome is a celebration with family and friends. Could that be a new love comes into your life and a wedding? At a psychological level, it could be about filling your heart full of love, and the celebration is more about raising your vibrations. But I don't know why I shouldn't see it as, more the physical thing. What would change things is you feeling comfortable, feeling blessed. Again, it could indicate happy families, this energy. So I'm not too certain about it, why that would change it. Let's look at each card individually. As I say, your reading is dominated by the energy of temperance. And it's energy that runs through all the other energies, so I need to recognise that as I'm interpreting the others. Now, it could be an energy of taking the middle ground. It could be an energy of trying to see the points of view of others. And it may well be either of those things. But there have been a couple of energies that have suggested to me that maybe your reading, unlike other people's, or unlike other zodiac signs, is less psychological and more physical. So this would be about leading a more temperate lifestyle. I'm not necessarily suggesting you've been a bit of a hedonist, but it's possible, isn't it? And that you need to calm down a little. I don't know. recent past, we have the card of charity. Normally, it refers to you being charitable towards others. And of course, with the Temperance card, which I said could be about you trying to understand and forgive others, it could be being charitable in less of a physical way, as a psychological way. Gosh, am I changing on my view of this spread? Maybe. I mean, it could be to do with actually being charitable towards others, or others being charitable towards you. Why am I feeling that it's not? Well, I guess it's that Temperance card. And how other zodiac signs have been this month, you know? Do you know, I'm not sure. Because if it was just about physical charity, then it doesn't really link into the other cards. That doesn't necessarily matter. But I like to see the cards somehow flowing. Maybe that's my problem rather than the reading, you know? Interesting. Now, the current energy is one of having too many things to do. Probably rushing from one thing to another. Maybe even firefighting. Now that's an idea. That's an idea. That you're constant, you know, you haven't got time to think. You're just rushing from one thing to another. Yeah, that's a possibility. That is a possibility. And is time management the solution? You know, when I first started teaching at university, I used to run time management courses. It's all about organisation, you know, it's fairly simple. I wonder if time management is the answer. Do you know, I think it's more likely multiple priorities. You know, that Temperance, the middle ground. You're trying to do too much. You're taking on a burden of too many things and not achieving anything effectively. I think that's much more likely. And the future almost stays with that theme. Because in the future, it feels like you're carrying the burden of the world. Now, is this literally carrying the burden of the world, or is it just, you know, those around you? Because we're being bombarded with fear porn, aren't we? We're being made to be worried about what's going on in the world. And I think many of us are worried about it, but it's not going to do us any good, is it? And it's also a little bit of a struggle for you, which is like that time management thing. Things are a little bit difficult. You're struggling a little. But you can see an end in sight, and I think that's a very positive thing. So I do see this as a positive spread. Ultimately. That was the bottom row of the spread, which has felt very psychological, hasn't it? But we're now moving to the top row, which feels much more physical. I mean, undoubtedly, all spreads are an interplay of physical and psychological, you know, so maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on that, but I do feel that this could be more physical. We've got, and this leads to the outcome, we've got potentially a new love. It could simply be a new partnership coming into your life. But it feels divine. It feels like it was sent. It feels like you've got a perfect fit. Now, not only do I not really do love readings, really are my readings about such things. But, you know, this does somehow feel like that. I mean, I've interpreted it in the psychological sense of letting love fill your life, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I can see, if I'm reading it as physical rather than psychological, that new divine love leads to the outcome. We'll talk about the outcome next. But what changes the outcome is feeling a little bit too comfortable. Now, the standard definition of this card is sort of material comforts. But if you look at the rendering, it's got what seems to be a married couple. Well, they've got a son there and 2 Scotty dogs, haven't they? And looks like they're deeply in love, although maybe they're oblivious to what's going on in the world. Those blimps could be warships, couldn't they? The woman with the card, is she looking jealously at them? So it's as though they're caught up in themselves and their own material things to spot what is going on. Now, if July wasn't such a psychological thing, I'd say that you're happily married, which this does seem to suggest, and that new love is outside of the marriage, And I mean, it's still entirely possible, but I think this is more psychological. I think it's more psychological, yeah. I said that this new love resulted in the outcome. And the outcome is probably a family celebration. So if you meet a new love, could this even be a marriage? And of course, your old marriage, going back to the last card, maybe the old marriage would prevent you from entering this new marriage. It's not half suggesting that is how I should interpret all this. But I've just got this massive feeling that it isn't. These are energies, these are feelings. So this celebration would be about raising your vibrations. Whereas the thing that wouldn't do it is you feeling a little bit too comfortable in what you've got. Do you know, I'm not going to bother with clarification, because I think this is a reading all about energies, as all are. But it's important to just recognise the energies that are in it in making my summary. Rather than saying, well, this is going to happen to you, that's going to happen to you, etc. Because it's about things playing on your psychology. I'm convinced of it, July has been. Sagittarius, most zodiac signs tarot readings for July have been deeply psychological. And I've got a dilemma here, because the bottom part of your spread feels deeply psychological and the top half feels physical. And I'm going to go with the psychological spin on it. You're being urged to, and this is the overall feel of it, you're being urged to understand why others are doing what they're doing and be forgiving and take a middle line. Take the middle way, as it were. In the past, you've been charitable towards others, but I think this is a part of that middle line. It's being charitable in your opinion towards others. Right now you're struggling with, and maybe this is it, you're struggling with too many things on your plate, and maybe you've offered to do too many things for too many people, too many commitments, and you're struggling a bit with it. And that gets taken forward into the future. And you're going to continue to struggle with these commitments. You almost feel like you're carrying the burden of the world on your back. And the good news is there is an end in sight to it. But now we get to the top bit. Certainly the suggestion is that you found a new love. And if we're taking the physical line, then you're possibly already married. But you found a new love and you're going to marry them because it feels wonderful. What would prevent you from doing that is remaining in your marriage. But these are just energies. So is it more about filling your heart full of love, raising your vibrations, and not feeling too comfortable to not act? And I can't help but feel that that's more what this is all about. You know, I can't help but feel that that's not, you know, it is more of a psychological reading. And I don't know why. Is it because all the other zodiac signs have been? Good heavens. It would be a bit much though, wouldn't it, to meet somebody in July and marry him by the end? Maybe that's the reason I feel that way. I don't know. Interesting though, isn't it, Sagittarius?